guys, welcome to my leuchtturm flip-through video. I put up a thing on my story a couple days ago asking you guys for questions because I wanted to do a Q&A instead of just talking about the pages, and you guys actually asked a lot of really cool, thoughtful questions. So I'm gonna jump right in and start answering those. I've kind of tried to sort them into different topics, I guess. So yeah, let's jump right in. A number of people asked, how did you find your style? Honestly, it was just a combination of time and experimenting with different types of spreads. If you have seen my Mastery flip through, you know that I was using weekly spreads up to December of 2018, and this is actually the first journal that I've used more of a daily journal-y style. But yeah, I mean, the journal for me it's a planner, but it's also a creative outlet for me, and my style is basically developed to find a balance between those two things. Where do you get your inspiration? All over. I could probably do an entire video talking about this, but I'm inspired a lot by other users on Instagram and other users on YouTube. A lot of my spreads are kind of inspired by a projection of how I want to feel. So if it's very gloomy and dreary outside, I'll make a brighter spread. Or if I'm craving comfort or coziness, the spread will kind of reflect that. I got a lot of questions about how I make the spreads and the process and timing of it. Someone asked, do you do the decoration / washi / stickers first? Typically, yes. I'll kind of plan out the bigger decoration items on the page, and then obviously I write from left to right, and so at the end of the spread, if there's still room on the right side of the page, toward the margin, I will add in stickers or stamps, just to kind of fill the space. Someone very sweetly asked, how do you pre-plan? It always looks so beautiful and I don't understand how you space it. I typically start pages maybe 1 or 2 days in advance. I'll get the pictures down, I'll get the layout down, and so there's kind of a skeleton for me to work around. For the spacing, I kind of just have rules in my head about how close I'll get to pictures and washi and stamps. Or actually, if there's a lot of leftover space, I'll often use a stamp to close it up. Someone was wondering, do you plan in the morning or evening? I plan in the evening of the previous day. If there's things in my enlightenment planner that I know are coming up, a birthday, or that it's garbage and recycling day, or a bills due, or whatever, I'll write that in the night before, and so when I wake up the next day and open my journal, I know that that's on the table that day. Someone was wondering, how do you come up with the spreads? Are they planned or random? To a point, they're random. I guess it's kind of just what I'm feeling that day. Sometimes I'll hoard pictures that the colors go together, or I really want to use this one sticker. I'll kind of group those together and know that I want to use them for a specific page. Other times, especially in this journal, the pictures you see are covering up mistakes or things that I tried and didn't like. In my Dingbats journal, the one that I'm currently using, I feel like I've been way more proactive on really thinking through the placement of everything. One thing that happened with this journal is it is so chunky, and a lot of the decorations, you'll see I've put washi tape across the top on almost every page, and so when you look at the journal, it just looks super fat. And that actually really bugs me. It's not it doesn't affect the journal at all really, but it's just a pet peeve of mine. Someone wanted to know, how long does each page take roughly? It depends. And I rarely will sit down and just make a spread all at once. I've usually placed the pictures the day or two before. I check in with the journal throughout the day. If there's still space in the evening, I use that time to fill it in. On days where I'm really busy, sometimes I won't finish and I'll go back and fill it in later once I have time. But if I had to guess, just filling in the spreads can take me anywhere between maybe 10 and 20 minutes. But to account for the time that I've spent like planning the page or making the finishing touches, I would guess that each page takes maybe like between a half hour and an hour. It honestly just depends. What made you decide to do a daily style? So while I had my Mosseri journal and the leuchtturm that I was using before that, I was also keeping another journal that I would just write basically the same type of things, like about books I was reading, about things that happened in my day, basically the things that made that day unique. I was trying to record those, and I had my bullet journal for like personal events. I had my journal for like recording things about each day, and then I had another journal that I was using for like my work lists, and I really wanted to streamline my system all into one journal, and I decided to try that with this leuchtturm, and it worked well. I'm really happy I was able to streamline my journal into my bullet journal. I didn't, however, like putting all of my work to-do lists in the same place, and I've actually changed my system, so now I'm using my Dingbats notebook and the Enlightenment planner, and that system is like a really good fit for everything right now. That kind of relates to the next question, which was, do you do daily, weekly, or both? In this journal, you'll see me do weekly, like right there. I'll kind of plan for the week ahead and like list all the things that I'm trying to work on. I'm not doing those in my Dingbats journal currently because the Enlightenment planner allows me to kind of work ahead, and I can write things down that are a week or 2 weeks or a month away, and then once I get to that week, Monday morning I flip the journal open, and anything that's on the list that week just gets thrown into my journal, or I guess like migrated back into my bullet journal. Someone asked if I used collections. So if you don't know what that means, it's like a term that Ryder Carroll uses. He's the creator of the bullet journal system. You'll see some like random stuff. Like I've got some to be read lists. I've got like a page where I wrote down a bunch of quotes that I like. I taped a Katie Maxwell poem in. I don't really use collections because my journal is more of like a daily style. Some of the things that people would be using collections for are captured in the pages each day. Someone asked, do you use it as a personal journal too? To a point, yeah. I mean, I'm writing things that happen to me each day, but I'm also writing and recording with the intent of posting it to a very public account, and so it is in a way censored, but at the same time, I feel like it keeps me focused on positive things. Like if I'm just complaining on every page, that's not like a constructive thing. Someone asked, do you have a set of things you write daily? So in the beginning of the video, I think just on like the inside cover, it showed my key. I'd say like most of the days I'll cover each of my symbols, I guess. I definitely use it for like to-do items and events. Actually, yeah, in this one I always have like a work to do, and I usually have like a non-work to do or a home or a personal to-do list. And then to fill the rest of the space, yeah, I mean, I guess I just write like if I finished a book, if I watched a show, if something funny or memorable happened, that's recorded there. Someone asked, how often do you update your system? Do you have any rules for organizing what you have in mind to write? Starting a new journal is definitely kind of a push to like revise my system and leave things out that didn't work. The things that I migrated from the beginning of this journal, like the setup for this journal, I downsized a lot. I had a lot of like goal spreads and trackers and all this stuff that I just stopped. I wasn't using them, and so in my current journal, it was definitely streamlined from the system that I was using in this journal. But in the same vein, like this journal was very streamlined from my previous systems. Someone wanted to know, how do you keep your journal aesthetic? And then someone else asked, how can you keep pages the same style and feeling, which I feel like is kind of the same question, but I don't know how to answer this. I feel like once you find a style, it just kind of happens naturally. I tend to gravitate toward the same color schemes and the same like style of photos, and individually the pages are all different, but when you look at them as a whole, there is a consistency there. How do you keep everything minimal yet keep everything the same? Practice? I don't know. It just happens. This question cracked me up. She said, "Why do you use pictures? I'm not being mean, I'm just curious." In this journal, I was using pictures mostly to cover up mistakes, let's be honest. I don't know, I guess just like a personal preference. I like the look of it. I like how it kind of breaks up the page. I like that it allows me to convey like a certain mood or feeling with each page. Someone asked, what is your favorite part to fill in? Probably, I love like checking stuff off, not just like daily tasks, but on like a yearly goal list, or like I'll always write out like a to be read list with all the books that I want to read, and crossing each one off after finishing it is like the most satisfying thing in the world to me. Someone asked how not to feel like I'm going through the pages too fast. I mean, if you're doing daily pages, that's kind of a given, but like when I got this journal, I guess at the end of January, which was like my first full month in the journal, I like counted how many pages I used and then just kind of spaced out that amount to see how many more months I could fit in the journal. The question I got the most was, how do you find time to journal every day? And my answer to that is that I prioritize journaling every single day. When I journal, it's almost like meditating. It's a way for me to empty out my head at the end of the day, a way for me to like record what I'm feeling, what I'm stressed about, what I'm worried about. One of my more general goals for like 2018 and 2019 was to be more intentional with my free time. And after Apple did that update where you can see how much time you're spending on like each application on your phone, I was like horrified about how much time I was spending just like scrolling through Instagram or Reddit. And I feel like I prioritize like repurposing that time into doing something that like betters me, like journaling and reading. So like you guys are always asking like, how do you have so much time for this stuff? And I found the time. I made it a priority because it brings me joy. I'm thankful that it is such a functional hobby, but at the end of the day, like it is a way for me to like combat stress, and it's like a balm to my anxiety. Bullet journaling has changed my life, so thank you so much, Ryder Carroll, for developing this system, and thank you to you guys for watching this video. Till next time, bye!